Hello, it's Chris from My Stamp Lady, and I'm so glad you're here with me today. We're going to be doing some watercoloring and Emboss Resist with this lily pad set. So from the Sale-A-Bration catalog, which is available right now, you can earn free product with the purchase. I'm going to be using the lovely lily pad stamp set, and this is right here on this page. It is a reversible stamp set, and you can earn it with a $50 purchase, and it coordinates the coordinating lily pad dies. I'm also going to be using the Sending You Thoughts stamp set. I like this set because it has a sentiment and an inside that coordinates with it. The lily pad dies coordinate with the set and are also available with a qualifying purchase. I've also used the Sending You Thoughts set, and I have the Ornate Frames dies. These dies were from our holiday catalog. They are still available through our online store. I am going to be using this die in the upper left corner for my sentiment. So I have all of the supplies listed on my website on mystamplady.com, and I also have the paper sizes. So we're going to start with the Whisper White. This is thick Whisper White, 5.5 by 8.5, scored at 4.25 inches, folded for my card base. On this Whisper White piece, I will be embossing all of my images that will be Emboss Resist. So I'm starting with my embossing buddy. I'm brushing this over my cardstock because I will be using my Whisper White powder to emboss the images here. It's going to be hard to see them because it's going to be white on white. The first thing I use is my VersaMark pad because this is a nice sticky ink to hold the powder well. I'm pulling out some of the powder. I have transferred my powder from my little bottles into these little containers. Sprinkle it over it. Dump off your extra. The powder will last you a long time. It only takes a small amount. And I think you can see a little bit that the powder is on there. Pull in your heat tool, heat it up, and you will melt the powder till it's shiny. Once it's shiny and I have done all of my images, I will die cut them with the coordinating dies from the lily pad die set. The lily pad die set is separate from the stamp set in that Sale-A-Bration brochure. So I've cut them all out. Now I have my ink that I will be using with an aqua painter to color. So we're going to start out with those lily pads, and I've smooshed a little bit of ink onto an acrylic block, got my aqua painter going, and picked up ink, and I'm just coloring those with the Granny Apple Green. So I've done both of those lily pads. Now I'm using Highland Heather to do the flowers, and I've obviously sped this up. We grabbed a little bit of Gorgeous Grape to add some dark accents. And when I'm all done, I'll let those dry, and then we'll get back to those. So on my card base, I have taken a piece of 4 by 5.25 inch piece of Whisper White, run it through a die cutting machine with the Layered Leaves 3D folder to get that embossed image. I'm just going to go ahead and glue this down to the card front. I don't need to put anything underneath it, so it's ready to go. And I've used some liquid glue, and we'll just place that down. Next on there, I have taken a piece of Pretty Peacock cardstock. I've cut it out with one of the layered oval dies, and then I've run it through a die cutting machine with the Subtles embossing folder. This is also a 3D folder. Be sure to do the cutting first and the embossing second. I am going to add a strip of the lovely lipstick. So this is just a 1 inch by 4 inch piece of lovely lipstick to add a little bit of ground to my card front. Place that right underneath my Pretty Peacock piece. And so just glue that down, and I can go right ahead and glue down that Pretty Peacock piece that will be the base for my flowers. Again, I'm using liquid glue. It gives you a little bit of time to adjust it once you've glued it down, so you don't have to get it in the first spot. I also like using liquid glue over the embossed pieces with the different depth of that. Okay, let's stamp this sentiment with some lovely lipstick ink onto Whisper White cardstock. And then I'm pulling in that die. You're going to notice that I line up one end of the die with the edge of my sentiment. I place it onto my platform and run it through a die cutting machine. When it comes through the machine, it does look off-centered, and I did that on purpose because I'm going to actually trim this die down smaller. So now I will replace the die over the sentiment, move it to the right so you can see that to the left there I have a little bit I'm going to cut off. Line it up top to bottom so that I don't cut any of the top to bottom off. Run that through again, and after it comes through I have the perfect size cut piece. So now I've taken a piece of Highland Heather cardstock. I've cut it out with one of the dies from the lily pad set. This die is designed to layer right on top of the larger flower. I'm spraying the back side of this piece with some Craft Bond spray adhesive. I like using this. It works really well for these more intricate pieces or pieces with narrow edges. And a reversible tweezer is just a big help when you're working with these pieces that you spray with the Craft Bond adhesive. Okay, so now it comes to placement. So I'm figuring out where I want my lily pads, where do I want the flowers, and I'm just going to place down all the pieces. Once I have figured that out, I'll go ahead and use some liquid glue and glue them down over this pretty peacock oval. That subtle embossing folder that I ran it through adds just a nice little bit of texture. It's hard to see in the video, but it adds a nice bit of texture to that. I've added a few dimensionals, the mini dimensionals, to the back side of my sentiment, and I'm putting that down. The dimensionals will help it so that my sentiment lays flat. I've pulled in some of the rhinestone basic jewels. These are one of the just standbys in my collection. I use these to add a little bit of bling, to add a little bit of interest, to draw the eye around the card front. The Emboss Resist with the watercolor is one way to color these beautiful lilies that you can find in the Sale-A-Bration catalog. If you don't have a demonstrator, contact me. I can send you a catalog and I'd love to help you out. Be sure to subscribe to my channel, and if you would like notification of new videos, be sure to click on that bell. Thanks so much for watching.